What up, fam? Today I had on Jenna Grossbart and Camille Lasker, the talented and passionate women behind Holi Scoops. Jenna and Camille have an amazing story. They both suffered from various health setbacks, and it made them wonder if this was associated to the foods they ate. Lo and behold, after changing their diet, they saw tremendous health improvements, and that eventually led them to the creation of Holi Scoops, a truly healthy and delicious ice cream with a mission to feed our bodies and souls mindfully, using healing adaptogens and nutrient-dense ingredients to prioritize health while never skimping on indulgence. And I can prove it because I ate some on the show and it was freaking bomb, you guys. I had a lot of fun interviewing Jenna and Camille. We really got into how much physical and mental health are related and connected to each other. And if you ever thought about how you can turn your struggles or hardships into a business, then this is for sure great inspo for you. If you like this episode, please share it with a homie, tag my guests and me on social, and definitely subscribe. It means the world to me and it keeps this baby going. Enjoy the show, guys. All right, guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being on. I'm excited to talk to you guys about delicious ice cream and purpose-driven missions and all that good stuff. But I always start my episodes by I'll ask you, Jenna, what was your last oh shit moment? And that could be anything. It could be good. It could be bad. It's just like, what do you think about when you're like, what was the last oh shit?
Oh my God, I feel like we just had one. Didn't we just have one this morning? Camille, this is not like revolutionary, but we're working on a photo shoot this week, and this is like so stupid, but we're having we have a shoe partner who is basically like out of a certain size that we needed, and just constantly problem solving on the fly. So that was like the most immediate. I feel like there's more impactful, meaningful ones that I can't think of on the spot. I don't know.
There's bigger oh shits and there's smaller.
Yeah, but much bigger oh shits. Yeah.
I feel like all of our small oh shits are just like one big oh shit across the journey of entrepreneurship. So there you go.
Totally.
As an entrepreneur, you're just full of oh shits all day, every day. Pretty much, yeah. Camille, what was your last hell yeah moment?
I feel like we have an oh shit and a hell yeah every day. The days are like that. We had a big retailer that we're going to meet with next week that we're really excited about, and that came about today. So that was a hell yeah moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just feel like the entrepreneurial journey is like such a metaphor for life, and you're embarking on the unknown, right? But like everything in life is unknown. So it's kind of like this cosmic joke in a sense where you're like, oh, the entrepreneurial journey is so up and down, but like, guess what? So is this entire life. So yeah, absolutely. It really is. I feel like such a nerd. Like when I'll go like surfing, and literally like almost every wave, I'm like making an analogy to my life, to my business and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a nerd, but it's so true. You can basically put it all together. Like it's all spiritual. Like for me, like business is spiritual, and like everything you do, and it's all connected. So yeah, it really is. It is quite a journey. Guys, when was the last time that you got into a little founder's disagreement or argument, and how did you get past it?
When was the last time?
I don't know if we get into like arguments per se, but we don't always agree on the same things.
Sure.
Whether that's like creatively or even like taste wise.
I think it's pretty giving. That happens a lot, and that's going to happen with any set of founders. But I think both of us, like we'll say when we feel strongly about something, we'll say, I really feel strongly about this. But a lot of the time we're open to hearing each other out and, compromising and talking it through.
Right.
Give me one, guys. I want some juicy. Give me the last one. You remember?
I mean, we're testing a new
flavor.
We're launching a new flavor in March, and
we
like
have different palettes. We like really different things.
I'm like your traditional sweet ice cream.
Yeah.
And I think Jenna's palette skews a little healthier.
Like just probably. I like a little raw more sweet and like bitter. Bitter and things that probably no one likes. So I'm like, if I like it, it's a no.
So I'm like, it needs to taste like Ben and Jerry's, and Jenna's like, you know, give me, yeah.
Is it the same? Is it the same thing in partners, guys? Do you guys have completely different tastes in partners?
I think we look for different things, maybe. But a lot of the same things too.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, like when you're homies, you know, you have a different, like me and a best friend, and they have a different taste in women. It's like, that's way better. It's just easier.
Yeah.
We've probably overlapped at some point. I think we've talked about like one or two people that we've overlapped with, but yeah, like when you were in college. And,
oh yeah, that's true. We have a little bit of an age gap. So.
A little bit of an age gap. So, but yeah, we probably have different a little bit.
You're like, I thought we were going to talk about business, but no, we're not.
Love where this is going.
Guys, so you've created an ice cream brand that is actually healthy, and there's so many brands out there now, like so many. I've never been in a grocery store and seen so many pints of ice cream as I have over the last 2 years. It's wild. And there's so many that are masking themselves and disguising themselves as healthy ice cream brands. And you look at the ingredients and they're just a bunch of BS. So what makes Holi Scoops different? I'll ask you, Jenna.
Sure. Yeah. So a little bit of background as to like how we came to even create this is Camille and I had respective health issues for many years, from thyroid cancer to autoimmune issues to thyroid issues, hormonal issues, et cetera, et cetera. And at the time, one of our mutual friends, Ryan, introduced us and was like, you guys like have a lot of similar interests. You guys kind of want to do something similar and kind of create something out of kind of your struggles with this. And we're both ice cream obsessed. And at the time, like Halo Top was blowing up and we were both downing like a pint a night and not feeling very great. And when we met, we were just like, we could do something so much better. I'm certified in holistic health. So I have been very bullish on the ingredients that we use. We brought on the prior formulator from Ben and Jerry's who did their whole vegan line. So we worked with her for many years to create a product that we were really proud of that was rooted in our values in terms of creating something that was not just healthy, but like actually good for you. So we've used some unique ingredients that help with our consistency, but also are amazing for other kinds of benefits. So they're all kind of multifunctional.
The tough thing with sugar is that, or the tough thing with ice cream is that the sugar itself is what gives ice cream that really scoopable texture. And so a lot of the times with better for you products, you know, it takes a while for it to soften up. You have to leave it out of the freezer for maybe 15 minutes. And so because our product is very, very low sugar, no sugar added, we had to find like alternative ingredients to really help with that texture. So that was a big challenge for us. And
so how were you able to find that? Because a lot of the times those alternative ingredients are the ingredients that can be shitty ingredients, right?
Totally. Which our formulator would propose and be like, let's try this. And I'm like, oh, no. That's a gut disruptor. We won't use it. And honestly, a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, a lot of kind of looking at kind of other products and what they were using to solve certain consistency issues. They were like, let's try this out.
We actually we were at this like small little market one day, and the girl at the front that Jenna knows, we were telling her our issue with it, and she was like, have you tried this ingredient? We were like, no. We went to go pick it up. We were like, let's test it out. And it really made a difference.
Yeah. That's awesome. Obviously, I went to the store and obviously wanted to get some to, you know.
Love it.
So I've got my fork. By the way, have you ever had ice cream with a fork before?
Yes, of course. We eat ice cream with a knife.
You're just like whatever I can get my hands on.
Yes.
You know what I hate? I hate when I use a fork and then it leaves the like indentations in the ice cream.
Oh, really?
But I'm OCD.
Oh.
I can't.
You've had that flavor.
Oh my God, this is
right?
so.
I think you've had that flavor.
Guys,
Did we give it to you at that? Yeah.
I don't know.
This is fucking.
That's us.
This is fire, which makes no sense because ice cream and fire, one is frozen and one is, you know, that's just like a really bad dad joke at this point. But my God, it's so delicious. What's that?
What's our next campaign?
There you go. This ice cream was literal fire. Guys, it's delicious. I freaking love your ice cream. Seriously. And like, so let's talk about some of those ingredients. It's got adaptogens. I think unless you just like got out of a yoga class and you're going into Air One for dinner, you probably don't know what adaptogens are, you know? So most people around the country probably don't know what adaptogens are. So what are they and why is it cool to have them in ice cream?
Absolutely. So we actually call them, to be inclusive, we call them mood boosting plants for anyone who doesn't know what an adaptogen is. But an adaptogen is just a class of herbs that adapt to the climate of your body. So if you're like super stressed out, it'll help bring you down. If you're sluggish, it'll help bring you up. It kind of just creates equilibrium in the body and homeostasis.
That's so crazy that it adapts to the body, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But it's been used for I want to say centuries, from like even like the Russian military to, I mean, obviously it's, you know, huge in Chinese medicine for centuries and centuries. This is what they use to treat.
I love that. I love that. You guys, you talked a little bit, Jenna, about your struggles. You had cancer at one point, right? Camille, you also had cancer at some point, yes?
I did not, Camille.
Oh, sorry, you did not. Yeah. Camille did. Okay, Camille. So talk a little bit about that. What was your cancer actually? Was it tied to the foods you were having, or do you believe that it was tied to the diets you were having? Is that also what took you on this journey?
You know, I mean, when you find out and they take it out, they can't tell you exactly like what the cause is. But I really looked at all of, you know, the things I was doing in my life, the things I was consuming, beauty, lifestyle, everything. And I was like, okay, what can I change moving forward? And so that's really what I focused on. And that, you know, I cut out sugar right away, some other things in my diet, but that was that was kind of a wake up call.
Yeah, I can imagine. What's the deal with sugar? I mean, why is America so obsessed with sugar? We put sugar in bread. Like what? Like nobody does that. You know what? Why is America so sugar obsessed and addicted? Do you guys have any insight on that?
I mean, sugar is hyper palatable. So processed sugar, consuming processed sugar is essentially addictive. So you'll be buying more. And this is very much a consumer culture industry. So that's what, you know, and it's cheap. There's that. So it's addictive and it's cheap.
Addictive and cheap. Yeah. Jenna, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who is struggling with overconsumption of sugar or just having a dysfunctional relationship with food?
Yeah.
Particularly maybe with sugar, since we're on that subject.
Sure. Well, firstly, I think something I've learned over my own healing journey is around compassion for yourself and why you're having these compulsive kind of behaviors, and compassion for the fact that sugar is addictive. But anything that's addictive is something bigger that takes you out of the present moment, right? So it's like the constant fix, whether it's food, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's, you know, I don't know, social media, whatever it is, it's like an uncomfortability with being in the present. So that's most people in this life. It's like very hard to be present and in your body and experiencing what you're experiencing. So usually it's something that's uncomfortable that you want to escape from. So I guess my best piece of advice would be to, I mean, if we're going to just, you know, dull it down to one thing, it would be to get quiet and present and take some deep breaths. Why do I need to jump to this thing to fix, to heal, to numb, to whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree completely with that. Like for me, it was always like an emotional.
Hey guys, I just want to remind you, if you want to find more content like this, you can visit sebastiannaum.com. That's Sebastian, NAUM.com. You can also get a ton of other marketing resources from myself and my agencies, ranging from SEO to social media, influencer marketing, branding, web development, and more. Again, that's sebastiannaum.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the show.
Like whenever I would feel stressed, I'd run for sugar. But we're lucky. There's so many great alternatives now that, you know, if you want to find something that's keto friendly, that like still gives you that pleasure, it's there.
Yeah. It's so interesting how we all do things constantly to satiate that feeling of discomfort. And, you know, our phones is by far, I think, the biggest addiction that we've had in a long time. And I mean, I notice myself sometimes just tapping the screen.
You called me out on it.
I called you out on it.
You're like, all of social media. I was like, okay, you're not wrong.
That's how I roll. But really though, it's just like, it's wild. I mean, I do it all the time and it's just crazy. It's like this discomfort. And I started noticing it, that it's just so, it's your body. If you listen to your body, you can just tell you're actually a little bit more tense. You don't have to be super tense. You're a little bit more tense. You're definitely breathing more shallow. And it's like, I start noticing that more and more. Like the awareness is everything. And but it's so hard for us to do it because we're just caught into these dopamine cycles, right? And it's just like, as soon as you get out of that discomfort by whether it's eating sugar or checking your social media or checking a dating app or whatever it is, right? Or texting somebody. And it immediately, like you're searching for a little bit of dopamine release, you know? Yeah. So, exactly. Yeah. Guys, what is Holi Scoops? Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, back to our product, something that is, you know, scientific, but also, you know, speaks to what we're talking about is our product balances blood sugar. So, you know, those kind of dopamine hits are also connected to like low blood sugar or high blood sugar, or just not being regulated or in any sort of homeostasis, right? So it's like after a meditation, I'm sure you're not jonesing for anything. There's that moment, there's that bliss of peace and quiet and being in your body that you don't have when you're, you know, spiked in that way.
Yeah. That's a really, really good point. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, what is Holi Scoops' mission?
Camille, I'll let you answer that.
Well, Holi short for holistic. So really the mission with this product was to look at at someone holistically and not just talk about physical well-being, but also mental well-being and the connection between mind and body. And so that's where, you know, we are taking adaptogens, which have contribute function of the mind, and piecing them with products that, you know, heal you physically, or ingredients that are good for you physically as well. And then we had a tagline that was on our pint, our first version of our pint. And it was a little cluttered, so we took it off. Or no, it's still on the top. It's still there. It used to be on the rim.
It used to be much bigger. Yeah. There it is.
Mindful indulgence. So for us, it's just about, you know, consuming mindfully and not having it be like the response to stress or whatever it is, and just being like, I can have this and I can enjoy it and be present while eating it.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Go ahead, Jenna.
I was going to say, and then another thing is we don't talk about, while our product is super healthy and all the things, checks all the boxes, we don't talk about calories, and we don't talk about anything related to guilt-free or anything like that. We don't want to bring that language into this experience, because this experience is truly about like joy, pleasure, mindfulness, presence, as opposed to this is the lowest calorie thing that you could have for yourself, even though it is low calorie. But again, we don't want to engage in that conversation.
Got it. So essentially through the ingredients and what the product stands for and how it's created and formulated and what the brand stands for, the idea is to inspire more mindful indulgence, essentially, right? To be able to enjoy something beautiful in life mindfully, and that also to inspire other things in life mindfully, essentially.
Yes, exactly. You nailed it.
And for people listening, we had a cat fly through the screen earlier, so we had a little cut. So I can't remember if we cut this out or not. But you were talking about self-love, Jenna. You were talking about one of the things for somebody struggling with some sort of dysfunction with a relationship to food, and I think that part may have gotten cut out. So you were talking about, okay, great. So you were talking about self-love and the importance to have compassion and all that stuff with that. And this is something that like I practice all the time because I'm insanely self-critical. And so that's how I've learned to have success in my life, is by holding a really high bar and being super self-critical. And then that can become very destructive very easily, right? And so then I can kind of catch myself on that, right? But to that same concept of self-love, and this is a bit controversial, but I think that there is also, it has gone also to the whole other side where we're also promoting unhealthiness in many ways, right? So it's like, obviously if somebody is very, very, very overweight, I'm not saying you should self-hate by any means, right? You should not hate yourself for being overweight, right? But I think that in society, we're starting to get to the point of just loving even that aspect of the being unhealthy. And I think it's almost going a whole different way. I don't know if you guys have something to say about that, or you've seen that lately.
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation that I have had with some friends who are like health and wellness influencers who are like, why are we promoting this?
Right.
Which I get. I get it. I think everything comes down to why, right? So it's like, am I consuming this because I love myself, or am I consuming this because I hate myself? Am I imbibing this thing because I want connection, or am I imbibing this thing because I want to disconnect? And so I don't think the thing is the problem. I think it's our relationship to why. That I think is so back to what you were saying, I guess the example is like, we're promoting people who are obese and saying, love yourself. Like, you should absolutely love yourself. But like, is consuming that Twinkie an act of loving yourself? Only you can answer that, right? It's a personal choice, and a really brutal question to ask yourself. Is this action out of my best interest, or not? And sometimes that Twinkie is the best answer. Or the best choice, having that. It's so funny, like over Thanksgiving, I went somewhere that they were outside of Los Angeles, and they were making a pecan pie with like, I think it was like some shortening that I was like, no one in LA would ever make anything out of like soybean shortening, or like with like, food coloring 45 or something. And I was like, oh my God, I am out of Los Angeles. But is this like, in this moment, is this about connection, or is this about being hyper rigid and being like, I would never eat that? Is that something I would eat all the time? No, it's not. But is it a moment to connect with the people that I'm with in this moment? It is. And I'm not going to make a big stink today over this, that I might have years ago.
I think that balance is so important, because there's so many of us that become super hyper obsessed with the health side of it too. Right. And at what stake, right? So at what stake from a mental standpoint, right? From an emotional standpoint, from maybe wanting to connect and enjoy a moment with somebody that you don't always, consume that thing. And then you decide to do it mindfully with an intention of being like, hey, I'm choosing to do this. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to judge myself, because otherwise all that self-judgment that you do anyway, that's like hurting another part of your body, right?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
So
yeah, it's like, if you're going to consume it and then be like, oh, why did I do that? And then you're creating stressors in the body, and then you're actually creating a worse environment to even process that shitty food anyways. It's better to be like, I love myself. I had a great moment. I enjoyed myself with the people I was with. My body knows what to do with this.
Yeah.
and then breathe, you know, and then it doesn't have to be a regular occurrence.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But the wellness community, and I've talked about this at length, like a lot of the wellness community is quite unwell. It is. I mean, like the rigidity in the wellness community is, to me, not wellness. And so
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really do. Yeah. A lot of the wellness community is completely unwell. I'm going to quote you on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Just you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
So guys, as an owner of a digital marketing agency that also does branding, I love you guys' brand, everything about it, the look, the feel, but not just like the look and the feel, also the persona. So the way that you guys communicate, it's funny, it's informational, it's kind of cheeky, it's matter of fact, it's kind of, and it's also informative and conversational. I love that. You guys did a great job with that. Which one of you is really behind that sort of side of the brand, or is it both of you? How does that work for you guys?
It's a collaborative effort.
Really both of us. Yeah.
It has been a journey. If you could see all of the iterations between packaging and logos and our personality as a brand, like we've worked with,
and it's been all over the place.
All over the place. We work with graphic artists, like in an effort to be scrappy. We're like, you know, who can we find on Craigslist? But of course, we were not settled until we found like what spoke to us. And that was this. And the second we saw the first draft of this, we were like, oh, this is it. Done.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah.
There's a lot to communicate. So I appreciate your feedback. That's the hardest thing, I think, for us is we are trying to encapsulate a feeling without being like, we're encapsulating a feeling. And so our girl in the front, like, she's like a vibe. She's a mood. Or at least we're going for that. To the language we use, to finding our voice, has definitely been an exploration.
Can you capture feeling with illustration was the big question mark for us.
Can you capture feeling with illustration? Yeah, that's I love that. And you guys said a little earlier that we try not to talk a lot about calories or this or that. And so I think it's, you know, it's a tough medium point to find, to be able to communicate all the good things that you have without being, you know, without overdoing it. But then you also don't want to underdo it. That's a lot of the things sometimes I speak to with clients about marketing. It's like, okay, like also don't undersell yourself, right? Like, you know, if you are all these things, to figure out a way to say it through your brand persona, but don't undersell it either, you know? Otherwise you're selling yourself short. But anyways, I mean, I love it. So I think you guys are doing an amazing job. So yeah.
Thank you. Well, any criticism, we'll take it.
We'll go offline on that.
We love notes.
We love notes. We ask what do you think? Be honest.
I'll be happy to. I'll be happy to. So guys, both of you obviously love ice cream. You guys loved it before. But what are other either dietary or lifestyle changes that you've made to have an optimized mind-body connection that goes to both of you guys? I'll ask each of you.
Do you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jenna and I have bonded over various ways in which we've kind of had to, various things that we've had to tackle. And I think the mental health piece has been a big one for us just personally. I've had a lot of anxiety my whole life. And so since I was in high school, you know, I started to get panic attacks in high school and just trying to figure out like what kind of is the root of it here. You know, I've been in therapy all these years. I've tried medication, have tried meditation, have tried hypnosis. So it's kind of just exploring like the mental health piece of it. And then physically, you know, I talked about kind of cutting or trying to cut sugar out because sugar feeds disease. And so that's been a big one for me. And then also I just have a lot of digestive issues. And so kind of I know what the triggers are. I have what's called SIBO. So if you look at the FODMAP diet, I try to follow that as best as possible. As we discussed, no one's perfect. I try to find some balance in that. You know, if I'm sitting at a meal and there's a delicious pizza that comes out, so be it. But yeah, that's kind of what I have done.
And has that improved for you? Has that changed, Camille, in terms of like the panic attacks and the anxiety? Is that a lot better?
Yeah, it comes in waves. I mean, I've come to accept, like, a big piece of the healing for me was like not fearing the panic attacks and, like, you know, just sitting there like, I hope it doesn't come. I hope it doesn't come. Just knowing that it could come. And when it does, I'm not going to die. I'm okay. People get panic attacks all over, so they'll understand, and just kind of accepting that that's just a part of who I am. And then also trying to work on, you know, calming myself a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've had panic attacks in my life as well. And it's just like the fear of the fear is like the worst thing, you know?
Well, it ends up being a fear of panic attacks that brings on a panic attack. So
totally. Yeah. And I honestly, at least for me, it's been so difficult to pinpoint where it started, because you don't even know. I mean, it could just be like a subconscious thing. And it could also be tied to your diet and the things you're doing with your life. I mean, there's just so many factors. It's like, whew. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think you've had a good approach to it. Yeah.
Well, one thing for me also has been that, like, the medication I have to take post thyroid cancer surgery it puts me into hyperthyroid state. And so I've had to really, you know, that speeds my system up. And so when I first went on it, I was having panic attacks left and right, and I was just like spinning out of control. And so that's been, because I have to do that for 5 years, that's been like a challenge. Like, and I feel at ease now, but it was kind of getting that in line too, and just saying, okay, I'm going to be a little more sped up, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you've had to go through all that, and I'm happy to hear that you're feeling more at ease with it and you're in a better place. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jenna?
Yeah. Sorry, tell me the question again.
If you have other lifestyle aspects that you really implemented in terms of having a good mind and body connection.
Yeah. So I would think, or I would say that the biggest overarching thing for me, and when I talk about the wellness community being unwell, that was me. And the rigidity, relaxing the reins, and being more flexible has been my biggest healing. So I didn't, an eating disorder in high school, college, that then kind of transitioned into working on wellness and being like, oh, well, all the things I do are wildly accepted here, and a big mask for that. So really working on regulating my nervous system, because a lot of the behaviors are about feeling unsafe. And that comes down to having an unregulated nervous system, right? So I too suffered from depression most of my life. Anxiety is a newer thing that I've experienced, but throughout my life, it's more depression over anxiety, and kind of like doing different body work and embodiment work to create safety in my body, which used to feel like a very unsafe place to be. So like you said, also having like deep compassion and empathy for how this has all kind of unraveled. And I am a big believer of, I hate using this word, but I don't have another word for it, but like how trauma shows up in your health. That is kind of where it manifests. Because your protective layers only work for so long until your body is at a 10.
Yeah, that's how it's been for me, at least. Like, I see it as like, this is like the universe will eventually just punch you in the face. And it's like, yo, I'm right here. Like, hello. It's like shaking you. It's like, I tried in so many other ways. So now I'm just going to attack your health because that you're going to finally pay attention to it.
Pay attention to me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so for a long time, as I was suffering from all these hormonal issues, going from doctor to doctor and nobody was giving me like solutions. So intuitively, I was like, this is something else that's manifesting this way. So yeah, that led me to all kinds of things like psychedelics and breathing and
actual breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've gotten a lot of clarity and wisdom through that.
Wonderful. Guys, so you have, with Holi Scoops, you're very purpose-driven around your ingredients and everything that you put in there, right? And that whole process and what's going into somebody's body. In terms from you're both clearly passionate about mental health as well. Yeah. How do you take these sort of, conscious aspects of your product into other areas of your leadership and in your company with your teams? Does that bleed through to your teams and other things you do in your business?
I would say, again, beyond just our product and the ingredients, but more importantly, our messaging is deeply conscious and conscientious to align to some of those principles we talked about before in regard or in terms of mindfulness and presence and joy and pleasure and all the things that ice cream should be about. So, yeah. And I think while we don't have a big team, anyone that we do work with certainly knows that those are the parameters. And we only want to work with people that kind of believe in that mission. Yeah.
Yeah, that get us. Mm-hmm.
That get us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes for anybody. I mean, that goes for, like it could be like your co-packers and the other, like any other partner that you work with. Yeah. I think it's really important to display that mission and, right. and have everyone understand it. Go ahead, Camille.
Yeah, it's funny. Our co-packers our co-packer, there's plenty of people that work there, but they're always like, mushrooms in the product, and we're like, we'll explain. But yeah, we have fun with it. We anyone we work with, we explain it, or we see really eye to eye, and how we think about things. And yeah,
I love that, guys. As a it's a big journey to get a CPG brand, to get the CPG product right and get it out there. And it's a road full of struggles. Do you guys find that it was easier or harder as you were raising money to make this happen when you are a purpose-driven brand that's not necessarily fully focused on profits?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. Did I know, or did either of us know what was ahead of us when we started this? No. But I think that's the beauty of it, that you're like, oh, I can do all of this. I can tackle it. I'm capable, et cetera, et cetera. And then you realize there's so many challenges along the way. But thank God we didn't know before, because I'm so happy we did this. And we didn't want a reason to turn away. But wait, okay, going back to the question.
Yeah, essentially what I was asking is, do you find it that because you guys both went through struggles, right, health-wise, that led you on this path to meeting each other, to then creating a product that really had a purpose, right? Right. Of, in terms of the purpose mindful aspect.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then essentially, so like if I go in with a business idea that's super profits driven, it tends to be easier for me to get money for that idea than if I go in it with a mission and a purpose behind the ingredients and that. But things are changing. So I'm just asking for you guys what that experience was like as you're raising funds, how important it is to bring that mission and purpose behind it, right?
I will say that we certainly have met with different investors who are like, well, how are you going to scale it to this? Oh, well, why don't you change those ingredients to this? And we always are pretty adamant about saying these are this is the root of our brand. This is the bedrock of our brand. We're not willing to compromise on that. And we always say the right investors will appear, and we've been disappointed when certain people don't invest, that we're like, oh, they were the best fit. this is where the spiritual aspect comes into play, that we always kind of go back to they weren't the right fit for us, or they're not the right fit for now. And we have to believe and trust in that. So as we stay committed to our mission and our beliefs, we'll only attract people who are kind of on that vibrational level.
But also I think that, you know, there's money where there's demand. And so for us, we've seen firsthand, and, you know, we've read all of the reports and studies that, you know, there's a market for this product. Yeah, there's demand for, you know, a plant-based or dairy-free, low sugar, keto-friendly product if it tastes great. And I think, you know, the better for you space is only climbing. And so I really think that there is a lot of potential for profit. I mean, of course it takes scale, and we're a year out, so it takes time, but I never thought that this wouldn't be, you know, a profitable business, or I don't think either of us would have started it.
Yeah, I think traditionally we've had profit and purpose very separate. It was very much, you know, if you've got purpose, it's like sort of like donating, and it's sacrifice, and it's suffering. You know, it's like this sort of idea of like you have to be like Mother Teresa that lives like a life of, you know what I mean? And that's not the case anymore. And, you know, you can have them both together. And the more profits you can have on a company, the more you can scale a good company, the more you can scale that good. So in this case, if it's promoting that essential, that mindful indulgence, the more you can, you know, get people to indulge mindfully with great ingredients. And you can't do that if you don't scale or if you don't have profits, you know? So go ahead, Camille.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that they can coexist. And I think that, you know, we're able to stick to our mission and also figure out a way to be attractive to investors. And it's just finding the right investor who believes in us and what we can build here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, what has been your proudest moment of this journey so far?
One moment. What would it be, Jenna?
I feel like, this is the one. I think this is the one for me. I imagine it's the same for you. When Gwyneth Paltrow posted our product, not only one time, but 2 times, without any, you know, push.
Money.
Nothing. Yeah. That was like a huge, oh my God, I'm freaking out moment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Freaking out. And I think a big one, you know, and this is actually really funny. It was way back when. What am I gonna say?
I know what you're gonna say. That.
Okay, let's see if you know. It was way back when, and we didn't even have our packaging yet. And there was one restaurant chain that was like, let's do and I think it was the first moment for me that I was like, oh shit, this is real. And I got emotional, and
oh my God, that's right. I remember you crying.
And it didn't even end up happening. It wouldn't have I don't know if it would have blown our business up, but it was the first moment that I was like, oh my God, I think this can be real. And that was an awesome feeling. And then the rest, everything's just flown by. Time has flown. But there are a lot of moments that, and we talked about this, try to enjoy the moment and enjoy the success, the daily success, or whatever it is.
Those are such great moments as an entrepreneur myself too. I know what you're talking about exactly, about when for the first time you're like, oh shit, this is real. there's the demand for this, like whatever I am giving or, you know, producing or putting out there has enough value that people want to consume it and pay me for it or whatever. And it's just like, it's so fun. It's such a fun feeling. And yeah, and I know it's like super cheesy and everybody's like, it's just been around forever to say, and you have to enjoy the journey and the process and all that. But it's so true, because if you don't, like I've gotten addicted to the sort of achievement and hitting a bar. And then once you hit that, like, it's not even that exciting. And then you have another one and you have another one. Right. There's always another one. And so I've operated under that mentality for a long time, and then you'll just never enjoy yourself. So you have to really enjoy that process, and it's easier said than done, but it's actually pretty difficult actually, but that's like the key, but that's the key. And that's the key to presence and being present in each and every moment, and just knowing that you're exactly where you're supposed to be at that moment. And that's part of the journey. So yeah.
Really true.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm going to ask each of you. First, where do we find this magical, delicious ice cream, and what's next for Holi Scoops? What's like the next, big thing for you guys, and where do we get it?
Yeah. So we're sold in all the Erewhon locations. We are at all the Sprouts nationwide.
All the Sprouts. Nice.
Yeah. We sell at Mother's Market. We sell at Farm Shop. Oh, look at you. Digging right in. I love it. Yeah. We sell at Bestie's Vegan. We sell at Camille, what am I blanking?
Bunch of independents all over. But we have, if you go to our location map on our website, you can type in your address and see where you can find Holi Scoops next to you, near you.
Love that. Love that, guys. So I'll ask each of you as we head out here is, what are 2 traits that a conscious leader must embody today, in your opinion?
I think for me, that is, I don't know if these are separate, like empathy and compassion have been like really just important values in my life that I feel make a conscious leader. Empathy for yourself and others in your team and everyone that you work with, and similarly compassion for where they're at as well.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I honestly like just really staying present for me. It's a big challenge, and that's something that I try to achieve, or I want to achieve.
Love that, guys. Well, you're both definitely very much so conscious leaders, and I love everything you guys are doing with Holi Scoops, and I wish you all the best. I love how much passion there is behind the ingredients and it being a mindful product for mindful indulgence, and I love that. So you guys keep doing you, and thank you so much for being on with me today.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. You know, it takes a lot to put these things together, but I truly love doing it. If you enjoyed this episode or the show in general, and you listen to it on audio podcast, please take some time to give it a review. It would really mean a lot to me. And if you watch the video, please go ahead and just click subscribe and share it with somebody that you think would like it. It would really mean the world to me, and it helps keep the show alive. Visit sebastiannaum.com for more content, and follow me on Instagram at sebnaum. That's SEBNAUM. Thanks again for spending your time with me. I know it is valuable. I hope you have a great rest of the day and week. Till next time.